Well, hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show, everyone, and thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We'd actually like to start out with a PSA, as Bree and I are joined by our great friends from Puppet Masters of None for this. Kids, we would like to talk to you about counterfeit felt and googly eyes. It's really been hurting the industry. It's really been hurting the world. Our
Big
kids.
googly eyes.
Yeah.
What does the world come
They
to?
barely shake. They barely.
Mm.
There's nothing really to them.
Yeah.
I know that I've heard
The
some horror
pupils are
stories.
different colors.
So we thought we'd
Yeah.
come together as our two powerful pods would come together
Absolutely.
to
Put
fight
a
this.
stop to this.
This, yes, and we're going to talk about Sal too.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's an epidemic. It's awful.
I never know where it's gonna go.
That was a great intro, though, James.
That
Good
was
job.
yes, that was spectacular.
Well, it's a subject that it's close to my heart. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know,
No,
I get on
I
my
agree.
soapbox sometimes.
Don't get them started.
You joke, but I'm actually going to get technical on you.
No way.
The fleece that they use, you actually can't get. It is a problem. You can't buy the fleece that they use on the Muppets. You actually can't buy it anymore. As of like several years ago.
Oh my gosh.
It's a special fleece. It's called Antron fleece, and it used to be made out of. It was a sheep skin fleece, I believe, what it was with. And basically, they stopped producing it, and the Muppets bought all of it and bought every last bit. And so now you can get. There's like one or two companies that make a synthetic version.
Yeah,
which
I was
is
gonna say, you
almost
can,
okay.
it's just not
It's
the same.
still called Antron fleece, or actually most people call it Muppet fleece.
Mhm.
But it's very expensive. It's
Yep.
very difficult to get, and even that is not like the original like Kermit, like Antron fleece. You
Wow.
can't get it anymore. It's not
Wow.
produced.
But it works really well. This is
Yeah, the new
we're
stuff
not
is
here
fine,
to
yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah,
We're
no.
not here to talk
Okay,
about
sorry.
that.
This is really interesting, though.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm so
Yeah.
into it though. I want a true crime documentary like right
Right?
now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
I actually do know about this. We can talk about Antron fleece. I don't know anything about
Gosh,
Sal,
yes.
but I'll tell you about
Forget the
Antron
hats.
fleece.
We're talking about the
Yeah.
fleece.
It's really interesting, though.
This is what the
Yeah.
fleece now.
It's one of those.
That actually works
Perfect.
really well.
Yeah, it actually works. It actually works.
That's great.
And you also just spoiled what season 3 is. Like,
Oh.
way to go. Way to go.
Oh,
Now they
man.
know. Now they know
Oh,
what
dang
season
it.
3 is. That,
They'll forget
Dang it.
about it during
Oh.
season 2.
yeah, you're right. Good point.
That's fascinating though. Oh my gosh. I would not have
Yeah.
guessed that. Well, look
Yeah.
look what your intro brought in.
Yeah.
Okay.
The,
There you
the
go.
whole
Yeah.
plan. The whole plan.
Mhm.
But a proper intro for a proper
Yes,
guy.
our friends from
Yes.
Puppet Masters of None are here. We were just on their podcast talking about Idea Man, so be sure to head over to their podcast too and listen to that and just the rest of their episodes because they're great.
Yeah.
Aw,
Support
thanks,
them,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah, but we're super happy to have you guys on here and to talk about a very special Muppet.
Mm-hmm.
Always
We
a
are so
joy to
happy
be back
to
with
be
you
here.
guys.
Yes.
Oh no,
Aw.
please, after you.
Absolutely. No, after you. After you.
No, please,
No,
back.
No, please. No, please.
No, after you.
All right.
Just 40 minutes of this.
Come in when I say that here.
Ah!
Well, we can start off with our first hat, kick things off.
Yes.
Yeah. I think real quick, just so people know, because we usually do this where the Muppet is improv, and we don't know who's coming out of the hat. Thought it'd be really fun to feature Sal Manella in this episode,
Yep.
given our friends here and everything.
Mhm.
And,
Yep.
and by that we mean Ben. It would be-
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say.
I love
Will just as close of a friend, but not as much a close a friend as Sal.
I'm going to be very honest with your audience. When I think of Sal, it's the devil himself would have to call them scum, and that's it. That's
It
that's
ends.
that's
good.
Sal.
That's good impression too.
So
That's great.
For me,
we'll see.
It's the space movie when him and Johnny are like, "Who ate this cake?
Yeah.
Who ate the cake?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
Did you eat Johnny's
That's
cake?
one of my favorite parts.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
yeah. He's a character that I have seen, but
Mhm.
I don't know.
Ben, what is it about Sal that you like?
Mhm.
Oh, there's so much about. I'm so glad that you asked.
Oh,
I'm so glad,
buckle
'cause
in,
we-
everybody.
Yeah, here we
Oh,
go.
This is
We
what
gotta
I have to
get all
deal
nice
with.
and-
Okay.
Okay. First of all, the name. I mean, it's just one of the greatest puns of all time
It
for
is.
a Muppet.
Yeah.
Salmonella. So good. So good. And I feel like it's less just Sal that I love, but just Sal and Johnny.
Yeah.
And for
Mm.
those of you who are not quite as familiar with the early 90s, mid to late 90s maybe, Muppets and Muppets Tonight. Sal made his first appearance on Muppets Tonight as the friend, sidekick, bodyguard, assistant, whatever you
Partner in
want to call
crime.
him, of Johnny Fiamma, who is
Another great
very
Muppet.
much, yes, very much a Frank Sinatra puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the classic Italian
Mhm.
crooner.
Mhm.
And Sal is his bodyguard, his personal assistant who makes sure that Johnny has everything he needs and is a little too overly enthusiastic. Always screaming about, did you look at Johnny? No one looks at Johnny. Always so overprotective. There was an episode where they even like kind of focused in on their relationship, and Johnny gets so angry at Sal because Sal is overprotective again and ends up firing Sal, and then Sal just like is lost without Johnny, and Johnny's lost without Sal. And it's just this beautiful story of two best friends who are like who have this like working relationship, but then realize through their lack of being with each other that it's more than just a professional relationship, that they're each other's people, they're each other's best friends, and they get back together, and it's a beautiful, beautiful story.
I was not laughing at you, Ben, because I was getting really into it. My eyes just panned down to Will, and Will was like,
I know.
You guys asked. You
Will
asked.
does not appreciate
This is
Sal.
why we have an audio podcast, so people don't have to see the expressions that I make. I'm rolling my eyes every time Ben talks.
oh my gosh, that's just too funny. I love the contrast.
Oh, yeah.
Sal,
Yeah,
one of the more newer puppets to Muppets, not new, but of course, but newer with the kind of that second regime almost of Muppets
Yep.
coming out and popular.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Brian's creation, right?
Yes. So this is something
Oh,
that's
cool.
really interesting about Sal and Johnny is Sal is performed by Brian Henson, and Johnny was performed by Bill Beretta, who so okay, we'll get real in the weeds here if you if that's okay. Let's get real in the weeds.
Let's get in
So Bill Beretta and Brian Henson were, I believe, high school friends, but they were close friends. Maybe college they met. And of course, Brian was working with his dad, doing all this stuff, and invited Bill to kind of like help him out because they were such good friends. And when Jim passed and he started taking over doing Muppet Christmas Carol and that sort of stuff, he really brought Bill in. First and foremost, I think I may be mistaken, but the first real big character that Bill Beretta did when he was brought in is Clueless Morgan from Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, okay.
Like the dumb kind of one.
Yeah.
But that's Bill Beretta. And throughout the kind of 90s Muppets with Muppets Tonight, Bill and Brian teamed up a lot. So you have Johnny as Bill and Sal as and Brian as Sal. You also, this is where Pepe came from. So on Muppets Tonight, originally Pepe was partnered. It was a comedy duo with a giant elephant by the name of Seymour, and the gag was like Seymour was an elephant and Pepe was this tiny little shrimp, and they were a comedy duo. And again, Pepe was Bill Beretta, and Seymour was Brian Henson.
Oh, okay.
And then they would even go on to do a pilot for a TV series called Tinseltown. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Sounds really familiar, yeah.
But basically it's about a couple, a pig, Howard the pig, and what's his name? I forget the character's name, but Brian played this, I think it was like a bison. So it was this kind of like odd couple relationship between Howard the pig and this bison, and they adopt this child together, and like the kid, and it was kind of like an adult kind of edgy, supposed to be sitcom with these two head puppets. And so they did a pilot for that. I think you can find that. And eventually Howard the Pig would actually, as Bill Barretta's character, would stay with the Muppets. He's actually in a couple different things, but most prominently in a Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie. He plays the dance instructor. He's like yelling at the kickline girls. And it's like, come on, ladies, do it a little bit fast. And that's that character. But the two of them had these comedy duo kind of characters that they would do, very much like Jim and Frank. And it was kind of like a Jim and Frank relationship of that time. And then unfortunately what would happen is, of course, the Henson Company would sell the Muppets to Disney. And so Brian kind of got out of the Muppets, which is why we see a lot less of Sal.
That makes sense.
But Bill would stay with the Muppets, and now Bill performs Rolf the Dog, Dr. Teeth, and he's a big producer actually now. He's taken on, I think he produced Muppets Mayhem with Adam Goldberg and stuff.
Wow.
So he's like a big kind of like he does a lot of the producing side of the Muppets, but also is Ralph, Dr. Teeth, I believe Swedish Chef, a lot of those like Jim characters with like the lower voices.
Yeah.
That lower gravelly voice, he does those.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
that's a little mini history lesson of where Sal came from and Brian.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us the cliff
Yeah,
notes.
thank you.
That was not the Cliff Notes. Sorry, that was
No,
a full-on
no,
dissertation, and I apologize.
I eat that stuff up, man. So I love that. Thank you for that. And I think it's also kind of cool too how we see it with TV shows happen from time to time. They have a character on and he's only going to be on for a couple episodes, but he's successful, so he becomes a mainstay. But to think of it happening with puppets, with some of the Muppets, with Sal. Sal was just a kind of a character that had a little bit of a solo, and all of a sudden they give him a vest and they throw him out there and stuff. And Gonzo's, where Gonzo started and what he turned into.
Yeah.
The idea of doing that with Muppets is really cool to me.
Yeah.
It's not, it should be
even
that
they have an
different.
arc story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you, Ben.
that's awesome. Oh, you're welcome. I'm sure half of your audience is bored to tears with one of my long dissertations. But thanks for
That's-
sticking with me.
That's how we get rid of the loose riffraff.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the ones that aren't really here for the true love.
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
Muppet.
All right, well then I'm signing off. I'll see you later, guys.
Goodbye, Will.
It's good to have you with us, Will. It was good to see you.
Well, would you like the
Sure.
pick out?
Sure.
And so we only have 2 slips in here. It's crazy.
That is a little crazy.
Whoa.
I know
It's
it's getting
Oh
so
man,
low.
I didn't realize your guys were getting that low.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's
Yeah, we only
crazy.
have.
During your guys' episodes, you talk about how it's so there's so few in there,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize it was that low.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we have after this episode with you guys, we are gonna do that email episode where we open the emails that people have sent us, and then we'll do our last Muppet, and that'll be the end of season 1.
Mhm.
So it's
Wow.
really crazy.
Yeah.
Long season though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long season.
Mhm.
Let's see, we got a factor. report.
And we have a fact. We have a fact. All right.
So in fact, we are tied.
I want that to sit there. I want that to sit. That was good. I want that to sit there. You deserve that. That was good.
Thank you.
I wonder if that running gag will continue in season 2.
No.
Or are you actually going to keep track in season 2?
No, I'm waiting for someone to email us and say, actually,
Well,
you guys have
actually.
never been
Well,
tied.
Not once. Not once were you tied.
And I'm ready for it. I'm ready to be corrected.
Yeah. Fozzie the Bear is one of the most lovable jokesters you could meet, and he was named after the inventive puppet builder Faz Fazakas. Fazakas? How do you say that?
Sure.
Yeah. Who
I believe it's
Fazakas.
Fazakas.
Thank you. I knew I've
Yes,
heard it
I
before.
believe, yeah.
Fazakas.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Ben to chime in on that.
Sorry, not to be the well actually of the group.
Well,
but
actually,
well,
it's
actually.
Yes, love it. Fazakas, who assisted in creating the technology that would let Fozzie wiggle his ears.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. That's funny that we pull that now because we filmed our Patreon episode not too long ago, and that came up in our Patreon episode.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh.
pretty neat.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one more thing that brings you the brings you another bit of insight of the creativity and the technology that really grew with this industry and
Yeah.
and changed with almost every project. That was one of the things going back to the Idea Man documentary that was just really cool to me about the dark. I've always loved the Dark Crystal, and I
Mhm.
feel like I was one of those kids growing up that I've always loved that movie.
Mhm.
I didn't need for it to become a cult classic to appreciate it, but I didn't appreciate enough how much like revolutionary stuff they did in that movie,
Yeah.
where
Mhm.
different things
Yeah.
and different creative stuff that they were able to do. Just hearing a little fact like that is kind of cool to hear. That's something that I
So
always loved about
intricate.
that character,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have thought of like, oh yeah, they had to create something for that. Of course, they had to just do something. It wasn't this is pink, wasn't doing that over there with us or anything.
Yeah, that's interesting because I and I'm sure Will as well as the builder like have looked at a lot of the mechs behind like the blinking eyes and stuff. But
Mhm.
I've now that I think of it, I've never looked at. I do not know what the mech is that makes those ears wiggle like that.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
something interesting to look up. Do
Yeah.
you know, Will?
Yeah. No, I think I'd have to look that up also, but I'm sure, yeah, that's interesting. That'll be my homework now.
Yeah. Knowing Faz
Yeah.
Fazakas, he did a lot of like remote control radio,
Yeah,
and
I
electronic
assume.
stuff. So I'm assuming it's some sort of like servos or something. But it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
kind of look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see in my head how I would do it, but I don't know how
right,
it's
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love how much the puppet builders care about details that they could have just been like, well, we can't move his ears. Oh well, but
Yeah.
they like took the time to figure out how to do that. I love
Mhm.
that about the puppet building world. It's so detail oriented, and I'm a sucker for details.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, should we put Sal in a little situation?
I think it's about time.
Let's do it.
Let's
Yes.
do it. Let's
I've been
do it.
looking
Let's
forward
put
all week
Sal
to
in a
this.
stitch. Sal in a stitch.
Sal in a
Worked all
stitch.
night on that.
That paid off.
Yeah, thank you.
This Muppet hat for Sal. What TV show would you binge with this Muppet?
Oh.
I think he'd be a good binging partner, though.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Mhm.
or unless he gets too hyper.
I was gonna say I feel like you're gonna get your fill of Sal. You're gonna no matter
I
what.
know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is
I
it?
know exactly.
Hmm.
I'd binge The Sopranos with Sal.
Oh,
I feel right like Johnny
Oh, that's
Fiamma. Like I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel he's in that world, and he
Yeah.
could really like explain that world to me and get excited about that world.
oh my gosh.
Mhm.
100% The
I
Sopranos.
love that.
That's a good one.
I'm intrigued to know what my relationship is with him, though. Like, how is he? How does he treat me? Is it the same kind of obsessive? Like, can I get your
Oh.
popcorn? Can I get you something? Do you need more?
True.
Are the lights okay?
I feel like that's unique to Johnny, so maybe he's
Okay,
like more
okay.
chill. Yeah.
Well, is he sitting there watching the show constantly thinking about Johnny, or is he going to be invested in what we're watching?
Yeah, that's a great question.
If Johnny was here, Johnny would like this part.
Exactly. Like if he's going to talk about Johnny the whole time,
He's
I don't.
definitely
I
gonna
don't
talk
want to be
about
a part.
Johnny
Yeah,
a lot.
for
Oh,
sure.
well
No,
then,
Like
I
a
don't.
short show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a really good one. That's a really good choice,
Mhm.
and a great note to bring up about how much of the show would you might want to binge something you've already seen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a first time
Yeah.
view because you're going to be hearing a lot of Sal. You're going to be hearing a lot, even
Mhm.
if it's something he likes. It may even hear more if he likes it.
That's true.
I love the idea of him watching such a heavy drama, such a
Ooh.
such a
Yeah.
an impactful, violent, heavy drama. Just his reactions to it. Like I can't imagine what that would be.
Violent heavy drama.
It's
Right, like Grey's
surprise.
Anatomy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first show that popped into my head was Gilmore Girls because I love Gilmore Girls.
Mm.
And I don't know why, but I just like thought of us watching it and we're into the seasons. And there's a part where the main girl is in between like these two guys. And there's in the fandom, there's different teams. I'm Team Jessie, if anyone wanted to know. And I could just see it, me and Sal being like, what is she doing? And just getting really mad.
I almost like the idea of Johnny needing a break from Sal, and that's when
Ooh.
you get the
Mm.
time with
Him in a
Sal.
phone in a favor.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
Sal doesn't know what to do with all that energy, so he does treat the person he's hanging out with like a little bit like Johnny to a degree.
Okay.
Okay.
It gets really so in that regard, I could see him really getting into a soap or really getting into a drama with you, and who's who and or what team you're
Gilmore
on.
Girls
Thing
is
I don't think.
amazing.
Mhm.
We'd make t-shirts. It'd
Take
be
your word
great.
for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What about you two?
Hmm.
I was just thinking like maybe a reality TV show or something like that where he can
Ooh,
get
yeah.
like you have when you watch a reality TV show, you have those people that you really care. You're like, yes, I want that person to
Yeah,
win
yeah.
because I love that person. I think it'd be good because I'd be really intrigued to see who he would attach himself
Root
to in
for.
the TV show. Yeah,
I like
who he would
that.
root for.
I like that idea. That's a good one.
I like the idea of watching something with him, and this is cheating a little bit here, but something with him where there is an animal involved, like Any Which Way But Loose, or something like that. So where there's a monkey in it, and like him, I just like to see his reaction. Like,
Conflicting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is completely unrealistic.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
completely-
That guy.
Charlie, I like that. I for some reason I really like the idea of like watching anything to do with jazz with him, like the Cotton
Ooh,
Club or
yeah.
Bird or something. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Just because I put him and Johnny in that era so much because of the the caricatures that they're playing.
Yeah. Well, I like the full spectrum of shows that we all
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was very
really good.
different.
Oh yeah, that was
good.
great.
Maybe he'll just hop between our houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll watch all the
For sure.
shows.
he's
Yeah.
got enough energy. He's got enough
That's
energy.
true. That is
I'm
true.
pretty sure he doesn't sleep. I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I could take him on Wednesdays, but any other
Okay,
day.
okay, yeah, because Thursdays work for me, so that's
Okay,
actually
good.
Great,
Okay,
good.
so
Okay, I can do Monday. So the
Okay.
better.
I guess that leaves Tuesday for me.
all
right?
right, you're Tuesday.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep. Okay.
And back to Johnny on the weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there we
you
go,
get
yeah.
by the weekend, Johnny.
Yep. Perfect.
Oh, you.
Would you like to pull out of the would you hat?
Let's see here. Would you either trust this Muppet to fly a small plane or a hot air balloon? That's a good one.
Ooh.
Is that a this or that, or is it in general? Would you?
Oh well.
Because I feel
I
like
think it's
maybe
a
I.
this or that.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Then I'm going with hot air balloon. I don't trust him in the plane.
I feel like a lot less. Yeah, I feel like a lot less. Good. I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
Definitely hot air balloon.
I don't know.
But,
To
like-
me, I feel like he has too much energy. He'd be trying to do too much with a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but what
Whereas,
is there
like-
to do? You pull the cord, you go.
Exactly. Yeah, and so he'd mess it up because he couldn't just do that one thing. He'd have to do 1,000 things at once.
He just keep
I
pulling
feel
the
like-
cord and just woof, woof,
Yeah, right. I feel like with
Yeah.
a plane, at least it would get his like attention everywhere, so he could do all the different things.
Does he know how to fly said plane?
Maybe like some monkeys go to space. Maybe he was one of those monkeys that got pulled for
yes.
aviation.
Yeah, there we go.
That's right.
There we go.
It's something we don't know about Sal.
Yep.
He's
Secretly
aviation nerd.
a Soviet. Okay.
He's got Russian backstory.
Yeah.
I do like the thought of him in like a little airplane
Yeah.
suit
Yes.
I
costume.
The aviators.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the name of it.
I don't know if you and Will have done this, but I can't help myself. A number of these I've been imagining just Ben and Sal together in this situation. And I love the idea of you two in a hot air balloon together. I really do. I really
That's
really
my
hope
dream.
that happens.
That's the
for you
dream
guys.
right there.
I really do. Yes.
I've seen Ben when he gets really, really frustrated and like. So I actually I see that.
I think the first thing I thought of was an airplane. Will we land? I don't know. What a way to go, though. We can
feel
have
like
our
it-
obituaries
I feel
together.
like it'd be a little bit like the movie Airplane, a little like that, a little
Ooh,
crazy,
yeah.
probably a little
Yeah.
crazy.
Little wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it, yeah, if you land, it's a story.
Yeah.
You've got a story to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Has anyone ever been in a hot air balloon?
No, I've always wanted to.
I
go.
haven't either.
No.
I've been to like a festival, so I've seen like inside of one, which is pretty cool. But
Mm.
would you go on a hot air balloon?
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely.
Not with him, but
I feel like I would do it, but
Mhm.
there's a very large chance that I would freak out the minute that it like starts to go up.
Yeah.
I don't trust myself to like not freak out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even though I think I'd be okay, I also think that I probably would freak out.
I would need my husband would definitely have to be there because he's pretty good at like bringing me off of the cliff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have this thing like that's like structural anxiety where I know the structure is like logically safe, but like when you're climbing those like weird slippery metal steps to the water slide, you know, and you're like on those steps, and my brain just thinks of like the steps falling out, and then I'm whoa, I don't want to go on this water slide anymore. And he's like, it's perfectly safe. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's perfectly safe. And then we just keep climbing up. But I feel you, Ben. I think I would have that
It's gonna be
maybe
a
a little bit.
It might be a while before you're in a hot air balloon, maybe.
Work up to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
First, I'll conquer the
sure.
Fraggles, and then I'll conquer my
There we go.
structural.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you realize that the basket is wicker, you might not want to be in it anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
It really is.
That's never been upgraded.
Yeah.
There's
Anything
certain
else?
things that you marvel at how much they've evolved, and then there's other ones that I feel like you marvel at how that hasn't changed. Like we're still changing
Yep.
tires the same way.
Yeah.
That has not evolved one bit since the first automobile, basically, to now. That we still just do this just that weird.
I never
Daddy,
thought.
I've never thought of that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I never thought we'd get into like hot air balloon.
Deep conversation.
That's
about it.
some weird tangents.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
Oh, well, we've got one hat left. It's our Patreon hat. Does-
Oh, I think you
I
do.
think so, yeah. Oh, okay, we're good. Oh, I'm gonna mix them up.
Good idea. And this is going too fast anyway. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know, it feels like the last time you guys were on here, it went by really fast
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All right. Would you trust this Muppet to administer first aid?
No.
Oh. Yeah, that's
I
an
feel
easy
like
one.
He'd be a little scatterbrained. He'd be like, okay, first, how
Yeah.
many compulsions we need to do? And
Yeah.
He may keep me alive only in the sense of I'm like fighting to stay alive to get him to think, no, not Sal. No.
anyone would.
Sal's trying to get ready to do compression. Like, no. You know what? Hey, look, it's going. You're good.
So what?
Johnny, he's good.
While I wouldn't trust him to actually administer the first aid, I don't think he'd be the worst person to have with you in a crisis like that because he screams about everything.
Yes.
So even if
True.
he was like to start to screw up the first aid, there would be someone who knew what they were doing that
Big
would
time.
show up immediately
Yeah.
because he's just screaming the whole time. I need to get some first aid here. Somebody get Johnny. He's on the floor. Someone needs to help Johnny. Like
Yeah.
someone else would come eventually.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good point. Absolutely.
He'd definitely be. He's your town crier for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's definitely going to get some attention. Definitely get that. Is there a doctor in the house?
Yep,
yes,
that's
exactly.
him. Coined the term.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be our first like anonymous one that we wouldn't necessarily trust him to
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't need it. Yeah, he's got other stuff to do.
He's got a lot on
Yeah.
his plate.
Yeah.
Sal's stressed.
Exactly.
Sal's stressed. Sal is up.
Yeah.
Ben, is there anything that because earlier when I was asking what you liked about him, I realized it was a loaded question, but
Mhm.
as the character that we see, that's one thing. But is there something about him that you enjoy that only you or other puppeteers would know
Good
that is
question.
really that part of what makes it part of what you like about
Interesting. I don't really think that there's anything from a puppeteering standpoint.
Yeah.
I personally think the more that I think about Sal and I think about like who Sal is, I think that I love Sal so much because I feel like Sal is me.
Aw.
Like I feel like Sal is there solely to support Johnny and Johnny's like talent. And he's like Johnny's hype man, right? And I feel like that's what I'm best at. Like I'm a hype man. I have few talents myself, but I can I get behind my friends and I will hype my friends and I will make sure my friends have everything that they need and just go a little like not so crazy, a little over the top, trying to make sure that like everything is going well for someone else who has the talent.
Oh,
I feel like I feel like I really identify with him in that way.
that's really sweet.
Yeah, I really love
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. Yeah. Will, what do you hate about set? No,
From a puppet builder point of view, I think he's kind of basic. Like he's kind of a generic, like he looks like a stuffed animal you could buy at the zoo when you go through the gift shop. But yeah, sure, okay, yeah, he's a great character. He's very supportive. Sure, okay, keep talking.
It is interesting. The one thing that stood out to me about Johnny with Sal is that, for one, we don't have a lot of monkey Muppets, but it's Johnny, another one of these ones where have a lot of human Muppets, like Scooter, or like, or at least human-like, if you will. Which always was interesting to me too. Whenever they make those choices, sometimes you find out, it just turned into this animal, or this is just so happened. But then the ones where it kind of stands out a little bit, like they made a point to use that, we've never done this, and kind of seems like it, at least.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think he looks very cuddly and cute.
He does.
Yeah, I like his fur. He's a cute guy.
Which I think kind of adds to the humor of him too, that he's like, he looks like he's like soft and cuddly, and he's just loud and obnoxious, and I kind of like that juxtaposition. Yeah. I don't know. I love Sal. I always have a soft spot for Sal.
Yeah, we're so appreciative that you guys came on, and because I don't think that his episode would have been as heartfelt without all of those background and stories, and even with Will's opinions about him.
I was gonna say thank you, Ben, for coming on our show.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think we would have had fun with the Sal episode and everything. It wouldn't have been this good. It wouldn't have been this deep like that. This made this episode so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. That was really
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having us. It's so much. It's always so much fun coming on here.
Oh,
we will have to have you back in season 2.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that. We can't wait. Oh my
God. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what season 2 brings, because every single time you talk about the papers getting smaller and smaller in the hat, I'm like,
what's gonna happen?
What's next?
Well, you guys will be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't you worry.
Awesome. Sounds
fantastic.
Definitely.
Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for listening, all of you Muppet heads out there.
Appreciate you helping us find the Rainbow Connection.
Oh, we'll catch you guys next time.